shelter in place and curfew and all of the things, parents doing remote learning. I really feel for parents not being able to get out as much and all of that, that this is just a perfect time to have this conversation about holistic wellness and just talk about it with a great panel, an excellent panel who are working in the field on a daily basis to really work on the mental, the physical, the emotional, the members of our community. And tonight, this evening, they are going to share their knowledge with us, and we're so excited. As I said, this is being sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors. And we're going to ask the minister to say a few words and say hello to our panelists who are all on the screen right now and who will present individually. They will give us all presentations. But first up, Minister Tanae Fervent, we're glad to have you here with us this evening. Tell us why this was important for your ministry to sponsor this kind of conversation. And you're on mute, Minister.
That would be helpful to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thank you, Tina, and hello, Bermuda, and thank you for joining us today. I am looking forward to this holistic wellness chat. To give a bit of a backstory, the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors has been engaging with the community since March on dementia care in Bermuda. And during our panel discussions and radio talk series, people reached out wanting information on how to care for themselves holistically. And so, as a response, we organized this chat to educate people on how to maintain their physical and mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So, we now want to shift our focus today on those who are caregivers, those who may be experiencing heavy loads of stress, and those who simply want to learn more about managing healthy lifestyles holistically. And this will be the first of many panel discussions to come as we look to enhance persons' states of well being. So, Bermuda, this government understands that our country's success is contingent on our residents' well being, and we hope that you will work with us to achieve our mission. And to our panelists this evening, thank you for taking the time today to give back by sharing your knowledge with our community. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Minister. And it's, I know we got great information. We're going to talk all of it, Minister, as you said, the holistic and the caregivers, all the folks that are out there having to every day support families and their children at home. Did I keep saying that about remote learning? Takes it to a whole nother level. All righty. Well, first up, let me say hello to all our panelists. Hello, everyone. Nice. I'm so glad you could join us. I want to thank Alicia, who organized this great panel discussion. First presenter today will be Dr. Aisha Peets, and I will allow each of the panelists to say a few words about themselves. Dr. Peets is a physician specializing in internal medicine and pediatrics and functional medicine. Oh, that's interesting. Scott Simmons is our second presenter. He is a personal trainer, NASM corrective exercise specialist, Bermuda College lecturer as well. Our third speaker is Celente Duze, who's a counselor, certified life coach, and a sickle cell anemia warrior. Love it. Dayla Burgess is our fourth presenter, adult clinical counselor and addiction counselor. Hello. And Latia Simmons is a social worker and alcohol and drug counselor. And our sixth panelist is Claire Penshon. I hope I said that right, Claire, holistic health coach and aromatherapist. And our seventh presenter this evening is Alicia Tribe, meditation teacher, practitioner, Reiki practitioner, and a herbal formulator. Boy, that's interesting. I can't wait. Let's get to, I want you to tell us about that. All those titles that were in there. I want to know about it. So we'll start off with Dr. Aisha Peets Tolman. Dr. Tolman, tell us a little bit about yourself and then just jump right into your presentation.
Hey everybody, hi Bermuda, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I would say that I've been a practitioner for over 10 years, and it's really led me to be, I've always known that I wanted to be a doctor, even when I was a little girl at Herndon. So I just followed that path. I also knew I wanted to be a teacher. And so having these moments where I get to help and maybe teach people makes me really, really excited. I feel like I'm getting to do both of the things I really love, help people with health and also teach. And so we don't have long. I was told I have 9 minutes of yumminess to relate to you guys. So I'm going to just jump into it and let's go. All righty. So I want you to hang in there with me in these amazing 9 minutes that we're going to have together. And I'm going to spend majority of my time with my first tip for you guys, and then I will definitely get to the rest. Okay. All right. So you guys are going to travel with me. All right. And, come on. We're going to have a bit of fun. It's 5 o'clock-ish on a Thursday, right? So this is no better time to have some fun. So you are gonna come with me on a journey to Africa. All right, we're gonna go because we've been cooped up in the island for way too long, and we want to get on a plane and go. And we're gonna go to Africa, and we're so excited. We're gonna get to go there, and we're so excited that we're going there. Let's say, you know, we are going to be playing the Lion King song, right? That soundtrack, when you think of Africa, you think Lion King. So with me together, we're going to be on the way now, bada bing, bada bong, right? Because that's what I do. I make lots of crazy stuff with different words and different songs. That's what I do. My husband is out of it right now. But right, we're so excited. So that soundtrack is in our head. We're going to Africa. We're going to have fun. The next day that we get to Africa, we're so excited. We're going on a safari. Okay. All right. Stay with me. Right. We're on a safari. You're with your best and your favorite people. You're so excited. I'm going to on a safari. I'm going to see all these wild animals. They're going to be in their habitat. Yay. Right. Now, you're Bermudian and you're that person that loves nature and you love looking at trees and fauna and flora. That is you. All right. Somehow you get separated from the pack and you are seeing a bush. Oh, this looks like a bush I see in Bermuda. So you go over to that bush and you're going to explore that bush. Now, not from far from that bush, out comes a lioness. All right. Now that lioness is staring you dead in your eyes now. And you stop in your tracks. All right. And you remember you did a National Geographic, something about lions. And you know that the lioness is the one that does the hunting for the pack. And so you are now scared to death that now you finally made it to Africa and you are about to die. You're just day one into your trip. All right. So as that fear grips you, right, you are paralyzed. You cannot move a muscle, all right? You starting to shut blood flow. Now blood flow is now going to your heart. It's now going to the lungs. Some of it is going to areas of brain. Some of your areas of your brain are completely shut down, right? There is some things that is just not going to be working right now, all right? And then that blood is also starting to shunt to your muscles, all right? Now, at that time, the only thing that your body can think about doing is getting you out of the way of danger. All right. So that's exactly the state that you're in. And that first state that state is what I feel a lot of Bermudians are in. It's palpable. I talk to people every day, and I feel like majority of Bermudians are facing some sort of danger, and a big one like a lion or a tiger directly in front of their face, and they absolutely feel frozen and don't know what to do. And how that comes across as somebody who gets to see patients and have those one-on-ones is I'm, we're obviously in the pandemic. I'm so scared. I'm so scared I'm going to get COVID. It's killing so much people. It's frightening what it's doing to communities, families, and things like that. I can't wait for the vaccine to come out. Gonna go get the vaccine. Get the vaccine. And I've had two people, true story, have come into my office this week with complaints, random complaints, and are now concerned they're now getting side effects from the vaccine. And then I have people who haven't gotten the vaccine yet and wondering, like, okay, well, what, is that something I need to do? And, what's going to happen? Am I harming other people by not doing it? What about, my travel, this and that? So there is so much fear driven in our community right now about the state of our health. And the reason why I gave you that analogy about you being in front of a tiger and a lion, because at that point, your body is only got one thing in its mind, and its one main interest is how to get you out of that situation, okay? It's not trying to fight, no. It's not trying to digest any food you might have had that day. It's not trying to create any memories, trust me. It's not trying to fight anything else like viruses or any other things. Like your immune system is going to be completely shut down during that. And so when we are in a fear state, our immune system tanks greatly, okay? All right. And it's really concerning to see as a practitioner how many people in a pandemic are being driven by fear, are making decisions around fear. And guess what? Also attracting really kind of negative outcomes into their life because they're so fearful. And guess what? What you believe in and what you focus in and what you focus your energy in is what you're going to get into your life. And so are creating a negative kind of cycle in their life, especially when it comes to their health. All right. And so I get it. Fear has been a part of our makeup. Some of it is ancestral, especially if I have a lot of seniors in my on tonight. You guys understand that, you kind of grew up perhaps in a certain type of mentality, even from when you was young. And you could be scared, when it comes to a lot of different areas of life. And you almost kind of think that fear is also what kind of keeps you safe. But in this state, when it comes to your health, it really, really negatively affects your health. And that's something that you want to kind of get away from. And I'll give you one example of this, okay? All right, and one story. I have a 2.5-year-old. She's super, super cute and super, super rambunctious. The weekend, okay, just last weekend, she thought that it would be a great idea if she took her tricycle, which is about twice the size of her, and she wanted to go upstairs with it. So we have 2 flights of stairs that lead up into her house. So she was taken from outside to inside. And it was me and my dad, her grandfather, outside with her. My grandfather instantly saw what she was trying to do and said, "No, babes, you're going to fall. You're going to split your lip. You're going to hurt yourself. You shouldn't do that." And she froze and she stopped. And she was thinking about what he said. And I said, "No, Imani, you will be fine. You are a very strong girl. You can climb up those steps and you will be able to carry your bike, no problem." She shifted her weight, she grounded her feet, and she walked step by step and made it up to the steps, no problem, okay? She didn't break a bone, she didn't have a scratch, she didn't have no boo-boos by the time she got. And even though my father was very well intended, and he's, I'm sure I'm gonna hear about this story. He was very well intended, and sometimes the most well intended people in our lives can be the ones that can really instill the fear in us. And that's what we have to be really, 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 really conscious of, okay? And so what I want you to do, and I really, really, so, I'm going to give you 5 natural ways to boost your immune system. And so, way number one, or tip number one, is don't be the person that's in front of the line, okay? And like thinking, okay, they're going to die any second now, all right? No, don't live your life like that. And one way, and be more of the 2-year-old who's fearless and sure of themselves and confident, and figure that out for your health. And so be grateful, and how we do that is, thinking about all the things that are really, really going well for you and your body and your health at this present state. And if you're going to make decisions, make them from a place of love and care for your body, and not for a place of fear. All right. So, number 2, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, but eat them because you love yourself. All right. And then decrease sugar intake because you love yourself. And get moving. Spend time outside because you love yourself. All right. And let's go down. All right. Prioritize good sleep, like your mama told you to, right? Get that rest. And if you want more tips, it's my pleasure and an honor from your favorite wellness team, Ocean Rock Wellness, to give you more tips over the next 30 days. So head over to www.myguardian30.com, and there will be more tips for you that you will receive, and it's completely free to sign up. And I hope that that information serves you well in health and happiness. I love you much, Bermuda. Thank you so much, the ministry, for having me.
Excellent, excellent, excellent start to our program, Dr. Pete Tolman. As starting it out with a very grateful attitude and with no fear. And I appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Pete Tolman, and starting our journey in Africa. Excellent, excellent. Up next, and stay with us, Dr. Pete Tolman. I may have a few questions at the end. Okay. Up next is Scott Smith. And Scott, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can jump right away into your presentation.
All right, thank you. Guys, good evening, Bermuda. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to speak to you all. My name is Scott Smith. I am the owner of Holistic Fitness BDA. I have been a personal trainer now for 7 years, active full-time. I currently work out of Elite Fitness Gym out on Woodland Road. I am currently the Bermuda's Best 2020 personal trainer. I'm not going to talk about myself for too much, just because once I start talking, I have a hard time stopping. And like Dr. Pete said, I only have 9 minutes. So we might as well get into the main bulk of the discussion. And that is, does exercise boost your immunity? Very simple. The answer is yes. Of course it does. It doesn't matter what kind of exercise you're doing, as long as you are exercising. It could be walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, resistance training, yoga, anything that has you moving and has your heart rate increasing is working for you. So what exercise is doing, it allows you to boost your white blood cell production. And that's just the short-term effects. So what the boost of white blood cell production does is allows the body to recognize, find, and deal with pathogens faster than an unhealthy body would. The long-term effects of regular exercise is that it slows down the aging effects of your immune system. So it doesn't matter how old you are, how late you might be starting, how early you might be starting, as long as you're exercising, you're in good hands. Like Dr. Pete Tolman said, do it because you love yourself, not because the doctor said so, not because your kids want you to. Just do it because you want what's best for yourself. It doesn't have to be anything too strenuous. As long as you are moving, like I said, that's what matters. And never be afraid to do something, try something. There are plenty of professionals on the island. You got YouTube as well, which can always help. That's the main important things. If you think I'm not an athlete, I haven't done any athletic work since I was young, or I might have an injury, something. Well, according to new research, it doesn't matter if you're athletic or just an average person. As long as you're working, like I said, that's the most important thing. Next slide, please. Cool. So funnily enough, 70% of our immune system, about roughly 70% of our immune system is affected by our gut health. So what's even more important than exercise itself is what we're consuming. So ultimately, what we want to aim to do is get a nice wide variety of foods in every single day. We want to change up the type of foods that we consume each day, because if we consume the same foods day in and day out, our body tends to have less of a positive effect towards it. So the greater the variety of foods we have, the better for our body. So for example, vitamin A, we all know what vitamin A, it helps to regulate our immune system. So various foods that are high in vitamin A are spinach, broccoli, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, mangoes, as well as moringa. Moringa comes in multiple forms. You can get it in powder form, you can get it in seeds. You can find it pretty much at any health shop nowadays. We also have vitamin E, which helps to fight free radicals that damages our immune systems, our immune system cells. So different foods that are high in vitamin E are your various nuts, olive oil, avocado oil, walnut oil, spinach, kale, collard greens, peanut butter. Eat it up, enjoy. Vitamin D, something that most of us probably underappreciate in our country, which is sunlight. So vitamin D is helps with intestinal absorption of nutrients. So the more sunlight you get, the better you can absorb the nutrients right within the gut. Keep yourself as healthy as possible. Summertime's coming up. Don't be afraid. Go outside, get some sunshine. As well as zinc. So zinc helps with the synthesis of new immune cells. So foods such as chickpeas, lentils, black beans, shellfish, various nuts. Like I said before, eat them up. Don't be shy. Let those be more of your snacks opposed to your sugary snacks. Next slide, please. Cool. I'm sure some of the other panelists are also going to talk about this, but it's just sugar and the immune system. So sugar in excess of roughly 75 grams per day has been shown to negatively affect our immune system. If you're unaware of how much sugar is in most foods, just look at the nutrition facts. Anything that comes in a box, package, can, anything that's not pretty much a fruit or vegetable, is going to show the nutrition facts. Have a look at what it says. You can count it up every day to see if you're in excess of it. And then try not to be if you are. Nice and simple. Especially because viruses thrive on sugar as it's their only source of energy. So right now, if you're currently fighting the coronavirus or you're trying to avoid fighting it, sugar is not gonna help. So the least amount of sugar, processed sugar that is, not fruits and vegetables, processed sugar. The least amount you have, the better you are. Next slide, please. Good. So there's a couple daily practices that you can do to help boost your immune system. As I said before, moderate exercise. It doesn't have to be anything too strenuous as long as you are going. I tell my clients never take more than 3 days off. You take 3 days off, it's just like starting again. So do your best as you can to dedicate at least 30 minutes every other day to doing something for yourself, active, and then keep going that way, as well as adjusting your schedule to add an extra 30 minutes of sleep per night. Most of us don't get enough sleep. So research finds that it's not actually, you say, a lack of exercise or how you exercise that can boost or destroy your immune system. Sorry. It's different psychological effects that can lead to stress, lack of sleep, as well as a poor diet. So by adding an extra 30 minutes of sleep every night can help boost your immune system greatly. Replacing fruit juices and sodas with more smoothies and teas. Base your diet around fruits that grow off a tree or come out of the ground. Again, if foods are growing off a tree or growing out the ground, eat them. They're good for you. I promise. Most of us already do it. Just try to focus majority of your diet around fruits and vegetables. Like I said before, adding healthy sunlight exposure, grounding. So grounding is simply walking on the beach with your feet out, walking on the grass barefoot. This has been shown to help eradicate free radicals in the body. Mindful practices such as meditation or diaphragmatic breathing. Most of us breathe from our chest, which is actually a sign of stress breathing. So if you focus on breathing from your stomach, that's a form of diaphragmatic breathing that helps you, that has been shown to lower your stress levels. And then most importantly, hydration. Especially in the summertime, it's about to start getting hot. In my opinion, you can never drink too much water. Your body will let you know when you drink too much water. Until that point, I say drink up. That's all for me. Thank you for listening. All done.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Excellent. Good stuff. Are you also at the Bermuda College? Did just answer that? Did I?
Yes. I teach the practical course of the RICH program at Bermuda College.
Okay, cool. I thought I read that. Well, thank you, Scott, and stay with us because we may have some questions at the end. Our next presenter, thank you. Mastering Your Mindset is Celente Tuzo. Celente, good to have you with us this evening.
Nice to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, beautiful fellow panelists and audience that's listening to us tonight. So I've been tasked to talk about the importance of mindset along the lines of holistic wellness. So I just want to touch on the importance of mindset and a few ways in which you can master that mindset. My name is Celente Tuzo. I help individuals with chronic illnesses tap into their chronic power and respect their journey in order to dream big and accomplish more. I was diagnosed at 3 months old with sickle cell anemia. So I've been going through that, living through that since I was 3 months old. And it wasn't until lately that I actually started to thrive through that. And that was a result of me conquering my mindset and being able to tackle my wellness a bit better. Your mindset is basically your thoughts, which set the tone for your actions and your beliefs. So in this instance, we're talking about your body and your wellness, right? But why is this important? So recently, scientists have found that neurotransmitters, which are essential to brain functions, are found throughout your body. So they're not just in your brain. So what this means for us is that your thoughts are actually, imagine them running through your body. Your thoughts are not just in your brain. Your thoughts control your whole body. So that's why mindset is really important. So thinking about positive things, encouraging your body to do more than you think it can do is important, and it's actually practical and it works. So here are 3 main ways that we can start mastering our mindset. 1 is identifying your blocks, the things that stop you from having more positive thoughts, the things that keep you in a place where you're not able to progress as far as your wellness and your positive mindset. The second one is sourcing your power. Where does your power come from? There will be times when you're too weak and that you may need to lean on somebody, as if you lean on a friend, right? You may need to lean on somebody or something else and draw some power from that to increase your ability to sing. The third way we're going to talk about tonight is embracing or extending yourself some grace. So be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, changing your belief pattern or your thoughts, things that you have grown over the years. I'm 33 years old. So for 30 years, I've believed something one way and I followed that. My body has followed that. So for the last 3 years, I've had to challenge my thoughts, rewire my brain and start believing something else, start believing something more, believing that I can do things and rather than the fact that I can't, right? So let's dive into the first one. Sometimes our minds resist change because our spirit isn't aligned with our thoughts. So it's really about looking at your wellness and your health from a 360 view, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. all of that affects our wellness, right? So we really do have to take a time, a moment, sit back, reflect on how our mind and our bodies are not in tune. So one way we can get them in tune, like I said, is identifying your triggers. One way to identify your triggers is to look at the patterns. Look at the way that you react to things. Is it an appropriate reaction for the instance that occurred? So for example, I'm home, I'm working from home. I have a 3-year-old who hasn't been in school for almost 2 months. And that has been challenging to say the least, right? So this is an example. No children were harmed in the making of this example. It's a made-up one. So for example, my daughter, 3 years old, spilled a glass of fruit punch on the couch. So my reaction is going to be, why did you spill that juice? Like, Ivy, you lost your mind. I told you to sit still. That's not right. Go sit in the corner, right? Because a 3-year-old spilled some juice. Mind you, I'm not saying that things aren't stressful right now. What I'm saying is to check ourselves to see if... Is anyone else getting feedback? Okay. Check ourselves to see if our reaction is appropriate. So when I'm reacting to my daughter in that way, is it really based on that instance, or is it based on my underlying frustrations of everything that's going on? So if I sit with myself and address the bigger issue, like maybe it's the fact that I'm not getting enough support. Maybe I need to address that so my day-to-day management of stress doesn't look like an outburst, doesn't look like a big blow up, when it could really look like, you know, you didn't really, I told you to put your juice on the counter, you made a mistake, go get a towel and clean it up. You know, that would be a more appropriate response. So when we respond with these big blow-ups, that affects our internal side. That's telling our body that we're in a state of stress. So physically, my body, so for example, for myself, if I suffer with sickle cell, my body may start reacting. I may start feeling pain because my mind has told my body that it's under stress, right? If really I started reacting to things calmly, my body would think, oh, we're in a calm state of peace. So identifying your triggers. So when I turn to God when I'm mentally frustrated, emotionally drained, or physically weak, what is it that you do? I understand that not everybody believes in God. They believe in different things. For me, that's fine. But what I suggest to clients is that find what it is that you believe in. Do you believe in our ancestors? Do you believe in the universe? Do you believe in yourself? Where does your power come from? Because knowing where your power comes from before you actually need it is a really good, positive tool to have under your belt so that you can go sit somewhere when you're feeling weak. For me, I'll go sit and pray. For you, is it going to be that you meditate to start sourcing up some of that power? Because when you start changing your mindset, it's not always going to be roses and daisies, right? It's more than just think positive. Faking it till you make it doesn't always work. So you're going to have those down times where you need a reset button, where you need a time to gather yourself before you can start focusing on those positive aspects, and so that you can return to a peaceful state. At the end of the day, you are resilient, and your ability to bounce back is your personal power. So use that to keep pushing. Know that you can do it. Know that you can bounce back stronger regardless of what's going on. So extend yourself some grace. Be gentle with yourself. Understand that you're trying to get from point A to B. You want to be a more positive person so that it affects your wellness, so that it affects your health. Great. It's not going to happen overnight. You may need to take baby steps. You may need to start working through some of your stuff to understand why you have the mindset that you do have. That takes time, but encourage yourself. And one way to encourage yourself is by doing mirror work. It's an exercise in which you go to the mirror. My coach, Lisa Nichols, taught me about it. Go to the mirror at the end of the day, finish this sentence. I'm proud of you for, and complete that 3 times. So, Salente, I'm proud of you for not losing your cool today. Salente, I'm proud of you for getting up today. And do that every day or every night, and you'll start to find more things to be proud of yourself for. And you'll start wanting to accomplish more positive things so that you can report back to yourself about, right? So it's about feeding that purpose within you, feeding that positivity within you, feeding the new mindset that you want to create. So don't be discouraged when you're not where you want to be. Be encouraged by the fact that you're trying to get there. You want to implement things to support your wellness before your wellness is at its worst. That's really the goal here. Your mindset is your powerhouse, and your mindset defines you. Your mindset defines where you're going in life. Your mindset is going to decide. For me, sometimes it decides, am I going to go into a crisis, a painful episode, or am I going to take a moment, calm myself down, breathe through it, maybe take some Tylenol, but stop myself from going to the hospital? Your mindset has the power to do that. And that's what I'm encouraging you to take a look at. Just pausing for a moment. How are you going to manage your stress from day to day? Because how you manage your stress is going to dictate, like I said, where you're going to go from here. Are you going to improve your health? Are you going to work on your health? What are you going to do? Are you going to commit to yourself to do better? What is it that you need? If you need support, I am here. I am a text away. You can reach me at, you can text me at 537-8896. You can visit me at metanoiapower.com, Metanoia Power on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Metanoia simply means big thoughts, and we believe that your thoughts are your power. Thank you all for listening to me, and I think I'll hand it over to the next, well, back to the host.
Yeah. Thank you, Celente. That was actually, Celente, that was excellent.
Thank you.
At one point, I was almost sitting there saying, yes. Oh. I was about to give you a little clap there. Thank you. And we're going to come back to that about the mindset, and also building yourself up every day. That's real. That's real. All right. Our next presenter is Taylor Burgess. And Dayla is going to talk about, hey, Dayla, building resilience in our community. Dayla, over to you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can jump right into your presentation.
Yes, of course. Good evening, Bermuda. As our host said, my name is Dayla Burgess. I am a licensed addictions counselor right here on the island. Currently, I work within the field of addiction counseling. I'm working with our population who do struggle with substance abuse. I work in an outpatient clinic. I also have some experience with adult clinical counseling. And I'm just going to jump right into our presentation for tonight. So I want to talk to you about building resilience in our community and making the necessary connections between our emotional and our physical self during COVID-19. Resiliency, as you may know, is the ability to bounce back, quite simply. And resiliency has been the message that we've seen a lot within our community. How will we bounce back from this economic crisis? How will we bounce back from the loss of jobs? How will we bounce back from losing people due to grief, from this pandemic? And we've seen a bit of divide between talking about the physical self. We've seen a lot about our immune system, keep it healthy so that we can fight off any diseases that might be out there, especially COVID-19, right? But we haven't really made the necessary connection, as far as I can see, to the emotional self. It's really a mind-body experience, what we're going through right now as a community, and that's the message that I want to bring to you tonight. Okay, so there is a real impact of toxic stress on our community right now. As you know, the pandemic has created uncertainty. It's created lots of stress, and that's through loss, lots and lots of loss. We've experienced death, we've experienced loss of jobs, we've experienced a decrease or insecurity in our finances, and we've just experienced loss of overall stability. And no one is exempt from this within our community, right? So this results in something called toxic stress or collective trauma. So what exactly is toxic stress? Toxic stress is when we cannot see the end of a road. We don't know what's coming next. We don't know if there's going to be another spike in cases. We don't even really know what's to happen next when our government tells us what comes after we reach our numbers. It's just lots of uncertainty. And this builds a collective trauma because, like I said, no one's exempt from this, right? It's a collective trauma because there's lots of individuals in this community that have experienced the loss. So this overwhelms our ability to cope. It's a cumulative effect on our well-being, and it's almost like a wear and tear on our emotional and physical state. So last year, 2020, in April, we experienced the shelter-in-place order. This year, bringing it full circle, we are now experiencing, we've come out of another shelter-in-place order. So us as a community, we've been in this stuff for over a year, right? And lots of us don't know where the end of the tunnel is. And so that's what makes it toxic. It's prolonged and it's ongoing, right? The thing about this is that our bodies respond to stress, right? There's implications on remaining healthy. And there are lots of people in the community, as a lot of the panelists have touched on, about how we remain healthy. How do we keep our immune systems topped up so that we can fight off whatever's out there? So the thing about toxic stress is that it sends us into a fight or flight response, right? This is the physical connection to our emotional state. Our body's going to fight or flight. Think about if you've been in a really bad accident before, or if you've experienced someone, you've witnessed someone in an accident. Think about what that actually does to your physical state, what that feels like. You're likely in a fight or flight response. Your brain becomes geared for survival and it's in a state of fear. Like Dr. Pete's touched on, there are lots of people in our community that are waking up with active nervous systems. They are fearful. We're all fearful, right? It's a collective response. The next thing that happens when we're in a prolonged stress state is that there are high levels of cortisol being released into our body. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and cortisol serves that purpose. If you think back to that story that Dr. Pete touched on with the lion in Africa, that's where the cortisol is running through your body, right? And that's what happens when there's a perceived threat or there's danger. The pandemic has been around for over a year and almost 2 years in certain places. So the long-term exposure to cortisol increases our risk for health issues, including obesity, heart disease, and mental illness, right? And this is the direct connection between mind and body. We can feel stress, we can feel anxiety, we can feel depression, but our bodies are also physically responding to what's happening outside, right? So I want to talk to you for a minute about this equation that I came up with. So exposure to adversity, the pandemic, right? We've all been exposed to the pandemic, plus positive outcomes from the exposure equals resilience. This is how we bounce back. Just gonna move around this picture for a minute so I can see the screen. So how do we bounce back, guys? How do we find a positive outcome in something as traumatic as this pandemic? We increase resiliency by learning how to regulate our nervous system, right? So think back to that example of maybe seeing a bear in Africa, decking out on your bike, witnessing a car accident, being chased by a pit bull, right? Your nervous system is activated to get you out of that stressful situation. We need to learn how to regulate being in a prolonged stressful situation. So here are some simple tips, right, that I found useful and that I also want to share with you. Utilizing healthy relationships. You can co-regulate feelings of stress and feelings of being overwhelmed with healthy people. Think about that person that makes you feel like just all warm and gooey on the inside, someone that just brings the good vibes, the good feelings, someone that gives you positive feedback on a really difficult situation. But it doesn't just stop there. Healthy relationships isn't the only piece. As the rest of the panelists have talked about, Scott and Dr. Pete, commitment to movement in your bodies. It's super, super important, guys. When we're committing to movement in our bodies, we're telling our bodies we're taking care of it. Endorphins are being released in our brains, in our bodies, right? And the endorphins in our brains is a natural painkiller. It brings about that feeling of stress relief, right? So, and movement can look like anything. You don't have to be doing high intensity training. You don't have to be, lifting weights. You can dance. You can stretch, do yoga, you can go for a light jog, you can walk, anything, right? Um, the next thing is using boundaries. Using boundaries is essential when you're engaging in relationships. Using boundaries just sounds like paying attention to what it is that you need and not being afraid to say no at certain times. Think about the parents that are at home during remote learning. They're also working from home. They are learning to navigate their needs as well as put the needs of their children in the same mix. And sometimes you need to learn how to use boundaries so that you can take care of yourself within all of that. And don't be afraid to ask for having your needs met, so you can use those boundaries. Being honest about your personal needs, and those two kind of go hand in hand, using your boundaries and being honest about your personal needs. We're all feeling overwhelmed. You know, things just don't feel the same. When you're under a state of stress, prolonged stress, you're not able to make decisions, informed decisions sometimes, because stress kind of hijacks your decision making frontal lobe up here. So just being honest about the fact that we are all going through something. We're in a really interesting time right now where the people that are also offering the help are also feeling burnout. We're experiencing lots of emotions, right? We've all been in this thing for over a year. So be honest about your personal needs, because there's a feeling that comes over you after you're able to just say, hey, I'm not okay. Hey, I need support. Hey, I need a minute. Hey, I'm not able to do this right now. And then the last one that I want to offer is just getting familiar with your community resources, quite simply, right? There are lots of people within this community that are professionals that are able to provide people with support for their mental health. You know, if you have a doctor, well, hopefully you do have a doctor, right? Utilize your doctor, talk to your GP about the stress that you may be experiencing. They can also make referrals to people. But really get familiar with your community resources and how they can be made of use to you. So I really, really hope the connection between, thinking about the connection between our mind and our bodies does make sense. Remember, when you're feeling something emotionally, your body is also experiencing it. And the first thing we think about when we're going through all of this is the fact that our immune systems, we want to keep them strong, we want to keep them healthy. But our emotional self needs to be acknowledged within all of that, because it's a mind-body connection. It's all a part of the conversation, and it's really a holistic approach when we're thinking about keeping things healthy. I hope this has made sense for you. I hope you found it useful. If you want to learn more about things like this, or learn more about the types of resources that are in the community, I do operate a platform called Teleconnect Bermuda. You can find it on Instagram and Facebook. And I talk about lots of stuff just like this: how to honor your emotional self, how to take care of yourself first, pour into self first, and then others afterwards, a journey that I'm also on as well. So yeah, please check out Teleconnect, and I hope you found this useful. Take care, Bermuda.
Excellent. Thank you, Dayla. The impact of toxic stress on our community. And you are very right. We have been through so much this last year and a half, almost a year, 16 months and so forth. But it has been an incredible time. And you're right. We're going to come back to that. I want to ask you a question about that at the end. Thank you, Dayla Burgess. Our next speaker is Latia Simmons. And Latia is going to talk to us about types of self-care. Thank you, Latia. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please, and then go right into your presentation.
Good evening, Bermuda. My name is Latia Simmons, as introduced earlier. I also get the pleasure of working alongside Dayla Burgess in the field of addiction. I am trained as a social worker, but I do hold a post as an addiction counselor. So I am going to be talking about self-care this evening, and that is a passion of mine. Being in the helping profession, we're often navigating people through life and recognizing that even as carers or help people in the helping profession, we also have to cope with our own lives, right? So talking about the pandemic coming around, what we found is, here we are trying to support clients, to cope or manage stress around this pandemic while trying to, be able to manage it ourselves, right? And that could be difficult. The same, like I was saying, for parents who are adapting to remote learning, right? So I want to talk a bit about self-care and the importance of it for holistic wellness.
Latia, can you also open your microphone just a bit more, please?
I don't know if I know how to do that, but I can try to speak up.
Just thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So self-care and wellness, all right? So I've created a platform called Journey to Self, where it promotes self-exploration, self-healing, self-love, and self-care, all right? So what is self-care? It is the act of caring for yourself through activities and practices that make you live or perform at your best or optimal self. So what that is doing the things that make you feel happy, doing the things that make you feel happy, doing the things that make you feel like your life is in balance. So at Journey to Self, I promote 7 types of self-care, starting that foundation with spiritual self-care and working our way up to social. So spiritual self-care, right? Those are the practices and activities that build and nurture a connection with a higher power as well as ourselves. And I cannot stress the importance of that relationship that we have with ourselves is also spiritual, right? So what that may look like in your life could be prayer or meditation. It could be taking time for self-reflection, spending time in nature. And one thing that I love to do that I feel like is useful is just practicing gratitude daily, whether that is journaling or maybe when you get up in the morning, just starting a day off with gratitude is also a simple spiritual self-care act. So the second one being physical, and this was talked about, yes, we do not prioritize rest enough as part of that physical self-care. So we think about the exercise and the movement, which is so important. What I do, if you have an iPhone, and I would encourage you, they have an option in there for do not disturb. They also allow you to set sleep goals. So my sleep goal is 8 hours, and that's what I would recommend. The physical self-care is those things that are going to improve or maintain your physical health. So 8 hours of sleep, you can set goals around that. Exercise and movement, that was also touched on many times. And I cannot stress those sentiments anymore, just kind of movement, like getting that stress out of your body, being able to release that, whether that's through dancing, it can actually be through walking, yoga. It doesn't have to be strenuous, right? As long as you're moving your body. And the healthy eating practices. So Scott did touch on that, and that's so important, recognizing that the things that we put into our bodies directly impact our productivity, how we actually are able to respond or show up as alert in the world. And the pampering activities, so that's usually what we see as self-care, the facials, so I'm going to get my nails done, or the massages, and those things are also important to self-care, right? Because we talked about things that make you feel happy, make you feel healthy, or that your life is in balance. So that is not all self-care, but that is an aspect of physical self-care, so pampering yourself. And then emotional, so that's becoming more aware of your emotions, taking time to check in with yourself, and then building healthy coping skills. So the first thing that is important with that is allowing yourself to feel and experience all emotions, recognizing that emotions don't have labels as good or bad, they aren't right or wrong, all emotions are natural, and we have to allow ourselves to feel that, whether it's being extremely happy or being angry or sad. Right? And then identifying and minimizing exposure to those emotional triggers. Silente talked about those triggers. So identifying what they are, and in order to do that, we must take time, right, to understand or get to know ourselves, right? And then once we know what our triggers are, we're able to minimize those things that don't make us feel happy, or make our lives feel like it's out of balance. So practicing journaling to process feelings and emotions in a safe space, So we have many social media platforms, and you'll often see that people use it, to express those emotions. And expressing those emotions, whatever you are feeling, is really important. As Ms. Bridget said, that could be in a trusted or healthy relationship. I promote or encourage people to journal, recognizing that we want to process our feelings in a safe environment, recognizing that maybe on social media platforms may not always be the best place. We're not going to get, what we need through that process. And engaging in activities every day that make you feel good, right? So that can be, getting up in the morning and having your cup of coffee, or listening to your favorite song, like on your way to work, right? Making the time to do those things that feel good. Celente talked about, supporting your wellness before your wellness is at its worst. And it's in those everyday things that we do that make us feel good, that allow us or give us some, I want to say, buffer room, right? To deal with the stresses that are actually going to come through regular life. And then intellectual and mental. So those are the practices and activities that expand our knowledge base. They challenge our thinking. Like we said, mindset. They stimulate the mind. They promote our our beliefs to evolve, and not just validating ill beliefs that we have, right? Recognizing that as we grow, as we evolve, as we experience life, so even through this pandemic, some of the things that we thought were healthy living may be completely changed, right? Or what we thought was really important to our lives, what we value may change through this experience, right? So allowing our beliefs to evolve through that process. So some ways to do that is reading a book. I like to swap out television time for podcast listening to expand knowledge. It could be tuning into an educational forum such as this, identifying what is it that you need. So if you find that, maybe I'm not taking care of myself, or, I am a carer and I'm always pouring into other people, or maybe I am a healthcare professional that, I'm always taking care of other people, or a parent, right? And showing up for forums like this to get this education around what you can do to take care of you so that you can show up better for everyone else. And then investing in your professional as well as personal development, and participating in therapy, right? So self-care, and even though it's about self, it's also looking at those resources, for those things that help you feel more happy, more healthy, and your life in balance. So sometimes that may be going to your GP or a therapist, identifying what you need and making the connections for that. And financial. So yes, we're talking about holistic and mind, body, spirit. Financial is, I want to say, an important aspect of holistic wellness, because it's those mindful money practices that improve our relationship with money, right? So money isn't everything, my father used to say, but everything costs money, right? We need it in order for, things to just continue, right? So some of those practices could be budgeting, right? So setting a budget and sticking to it, or setting financial goals and developing a plan of action of how you're going to meet that. It could be participating in investment or saving opportunities, consulting with a financial advisor, as well as developing realistic plans to pay off debts, as well as manage them. So that could be credit cards, that could be loans, that could even be education, right? Many people are needing to do education loans. So even setting a plan around that early as to how am I gonna address this part of my well-being. And household and environment. So this is something that is high on my value list, and it's just things that create a healthy living environment for ourselves, instill safety and stability, and radiating peace, right? And I like household as well as environment because it doesn't just have to be where you reside. It can be in your workplace as well, right? But in your home, it could be getting up in enough time to make up my bed daily, recognizing that if I'm not rushing any day, my day is probably going to get off to a better start. And it's in the simple things, right, that we do every day that the self-care and the wellness comes from. So decluttering our home. So it may be donating things that we're no longer using. I love to add plants. So plants have different properties. So I would even encourage maybe if I have allergies or something that makes me feel good. So I love sunflowers. Like I cannot see a sunflower and not be happy, right? So then maybe if I'm looking to feel or boost how I feel, I may add some sunflowers to my table, right? To just kind of radiate that light in that environment. So add plants. And then boundaries. Boundaries are important in relationships, but I also think it's important for your environment, right? Whatever that environment may be for yourself. But setting boundaries and limiting traffic. We want to be able to have safe environments for ourselves, whether that's around, within ourselves or around other people, and recognizing that, everyone comes with their stuff, right? And that's okay, we have ours as well, but recognizing that we can set boundaries. Like I want to maintain this as a safe space, and recognizing that I set the rules around this, what's going to keep me safe, who comes in, who doesn't, and how often. And then social being the last one. So that's integrating our life with another person as social beings, right? So it's practicing empathy, being able to put ourselves in another person's shoes, having that compassion, as well as self-regulation. So recognizing, what am I feeling? How does this impact the people around me? And then setting those boundaries. So it could be spending time with loved ones, right? And with the COVID restrictions, that could even be virtually, all right? Practicing random acts of kindness. I would love to, have a conversation with someone who said, while I did this random act of kindness for somebody and it made me feel horrible, right? That's not going to happen. So that can also be that social self-care. And spending time with people who support your self-care and also practice self-care. This is important, especially when I was talking about healthy relationships. People that practice self-care are able to support you in practicing self-care, and that's going to allow healthy relationships to exist, because just as I'm setting boundaries or identifying what I need and when I need to take time or take space for myself, people are going to be a lot more understanding because they practice the same things. So identify there's people around you who are practicing self-care on a regular, and recognize that those are your people. Okay, and identifying ways to give back to your community. So like I said, this is a passion of mine, and being able to share about self-care on a platform such as this for our island, is social self-care for me. I'm able to share with others, but it's actually allowing me to take care of myself. So self-care is wellness, right? And we have to come on to it. Improves our immune system. It can minimize risk factors for illness and disease. It reduces our stress and helps us cope with life's daily stresses. Again, to the point that Celente made, support your wellness before your wellness is at your worst. And that is whether it's physical, mental, emotional, and financial, or even relationships, right? We have to kind of pour into these things so that we're not allowing it to be depleted, or now that it's kind of running out, we're scrambling on how to feed that. And then increasing our self-awareness, right? The ability to identify what we need and taking those steps to meet those needs. And some of those things may be things that I do for myself, but recognizing that in taking these steps to meet those needs could be identifying support that is around me. So do you want to start a self-care routine? If you haven't, then these will be my recommendations. So starting with checking in with yourself regularly, right? I can't practice self-care if I don't take time to know what Latia likes, what she doesn't like, what makes her feel happy, what makes her feel healthy, what makes her feel balanced, all right? So checking with yourself regularly, identify those activities and practices that make you feel happy, energized, and balanced, right? When you hear about self-care, people are always saying, fill your cup first, right? And that's exactly it. Self-care isn't selfish, right? Recognizing that we are carers, right? We're gonna pour into other people regularly as social beings, but recognizing in order for me to pour into something else, whether that be a business, whether that be, my family, my children, my work, whatever that is, recognizing I need to take time for self-care to make sure I have a cup to pour from. And choose at least one activity or behavior to practice as part of your daily routine, right? So like I said, if that's starting to, maybe I'm gonna get up 30 minutes earlier, that I can actually take time to have a coffee and, ground out in the yard, put my feet in the grass, right? One thing, just add one thing and make a practice out of it. And then identify the positive impacts that it had on your happiness and daily functioning. So how I start my day may have a direct impact on how I deal with any of the things that come throughout my day that I didn't see. I may be in a better position to cope, to pivot, to shift, to adjust, right? And then just continue adding more practices to your self-care toolbox. So your self-care is, that combination of these activities and practices that help you cope with different areas of your life, right? So building that toolbox, recognizing that, I have options for self-care. What I may need today may help me tomorrow, and actually what I might need tomorrow isn't what helped me today. So just giving yourself options, continue to explore yourself through that process. Right. And thank you. I also have a platform over at Instagram, and it's journey.toself. If you do want more information around self-love and self-care, I can be contacted by email as well at info@journeytoselftribe.com. I do share a lot more about, like I said, self-exploration, self-healing, self-love, and self-care tips for your journey towards yourself. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Latia. That was great information as we journey towards self-care and taking care of ourselves. Absolutely. I can feel your passion. Absolutely. All right. Our next guest is Claire Panchard. Claire, you there? Claire is going to talk to us about holistic lifestyle. How are you, Claire?
I'm great, thank you.
Tell us a few things about yourself and then jump right into your presentation.
All right, thanks. So I'm Claire Panchard. I'm a holistic health coach, and I am also a aromatherapist as well. And so I've been kind of blending the two. We're helping people to live a healthier lifestyle, and especially when it comes to decreasing our toxic load. So we have we hear a lot about toxic load, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, and how we can kind of use the essential oils to help diminish our toxic load. And so we hear a lot about toxic load, and it's mentioned quite a lot. And what basically is that? And so it is the amount of toxins that we have that kind of load up into our bodies, and that's basically what our bodies have to deal with to eliminate. And these toxins are in our atmosphere, they're in our products that we use, from our cleaning products to our beauty and personal and hygiene products. And we consume these chemicals and the toxic chemicals by breathing them in or putting them onto our skin, absorbing them in. So our skin absorbs 60% of what we put onto it. And there is no safeguard against toxins in our skin. So they are absorbed into our skin and then into our bloodstreams as well. And thankfully, our bodies are equipped with many toxin eliminating organs, such as our liver, our kidney, our intestines, our skin, our respiratory system, our immune system, and our lymphatic system. And our bodies are made naturally to detoxify. Now, however, because we live in a world where we are surrounded by toxins, and they are practically in everything that we use, that our bodies are becoming overloaded with toxins. And so now it's struggling. Our bodies are finding it harder and harder to kind of keep up with the detoxification and elimination of toxins. And so this leads to our bodies being overloaded. And then what the toxins that can't be eliminated actually get stored in our liver and in our fatty tissues. And certain toxic chemicals like phthalates, they actually disrupt our endocrine system. So the body system that's made up of hormones, which actually act as little messengers to the rest of our body to help it keep in balance, right? And so when we have a disruption of the balance of our endocrine system, then the rest of our body function is off kilter. It's just not quite right. And then that's where other complications can come in and dis-ease within the body can occur. And so phthalates, what actually are they? Well, they're a group of chemicals that are present in products that have fragrance listed in the ingredients. So phthalates are found in many fragrance household products, such as air fresheners, laundry detergents, dish soaps, body wash, shampoos, body lotions, body sprays, hairstyling products, makeup, perfumes, candles, just to name a few, right? And it's less commonly known that actually in paper, vinyl tile, wood varnishes, and lacquers as well. And here's a scary fact for you. It's very upsetting that to know that when they've tested newborn babies' umbilical cord blood, and they've found 232 or over 232 toxic chemicals within that blood. And this is because, you know, as we live in this world, the mothers take on, the pregnant mothers take on these toxins. They obviously get into her bloodstream and then are passed on to her unborn child, so that when their baby's born, they already are facing all these toxins. And then an even scarier fact then on top of that too, to add on, is that mother's breast milk have also been tested, and there have been chemicals and toxins found in there, such as triclosan. Now, triclosan is an antibacterial and antifungal agent, and it's found in liquid dishwashing detergents, hand soaps. It's also been known to be in face wash, shampoos, deodorants, toothpaste, mouthwashes, cleaning supplies, and pesticides. And so triclosan is linked to liver and inhalation toxicity, and low levels of triclosan may even disrupt our thyroid function. Then we also have another group of toxins called quats, so quaternary ammonium compounds, and they're found in liquid fabric softener and dryer sheets, as well as most household cleaners that are labeled antibacterial. And they're also suspected to create respiratory disorders, and they're a known skin irritant. And they're deemed as pathogens, so which basically are substances that can cause asthma to develop in otherwise healthy individuals. So from this information and looking at these toxins and what they can do to the body, that we're noticing that these toxic chemicals are damaging the very organs that we rely on to eliminate toxins from our bodies. They're attacking the lungs, the skin, the liver. So those are the things that we are kind of really concerned about, and that's how more issues can occur within the body, right? So how do we start to decrease our toxic load? Well, a number of ways so we can do that, but I'm going to focus on how essential oils can help us to decrease our toxic load today. And so one of the first steps that we can do is to swap out our toxic-filled commercial cleaners and start using some more natural DIY cleaning solutions that are really actually simple, easy to make, cost effective, and actually highly disinfecting. So for example, I do have my own all-purpose cleaning solution. And what I do with that is I have a glass jar with a spray top bottle, and it's a repurposed glass jar here. And then I put into it a couple of squirts, like a squirt or two, roughly about a tablespoon of pure Castile soap, 1 cup of white vinegar, 2 cups of distilled or purified water, and 20 to 30 drops of certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. And that is really important, the certified pure therapeutic grade. Basically, I'm going to touch on that in a minute, but it is the highest grade of essential oils that you can get, and you want them to be pure. And in my cleaning solution, I like to kind of use more the citrus oils, maybe like lemons, lime, and spearmint. They're wonderful, such a great aroma, but also very, very impactful for cleansing. And so what are essential oils? Let's talk about that, and how can they help us in decreasing our toxic load? Well, essential oils are the aromatic compounds that are extracted from the plants and trees. So from their flowers, from their seed, their root, and the bark. And they are natural and potent, what makes them highly effective. And because essential oils are extracted from nature, they are safe when they're used correctly and they're non-toxic. And it's important to note that not all essential oils are of the CPTG standard, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade standard. So this basically means that they have been thoroughly tested for any contamination, fillers, heavy metals, and toxins. So they're tested to ensure that the purity and potency of the oils is the absolute best. And each bottle of essential oil contains a unique blend of natural chemical constituents, which is basically the genetic makeup of each individual oil. And so let's talk about one of the constituents. A constituent called limonene is well known for its powerful cleansing properties, and it's found in the citrus oils as well as black pepper, spearmint, and dill. So that's why my cleaning spray here, I like to use spearmint and the more of the citrus oils because they have such a disinfecting and cleansing properties. And then the different essential oils have different benefits as well. So some have more of an antibacterial benefit. So those are things like lemon, lime, and lavender. Some are antimicrobial, such as lemongrass and myrrh. Some are antifungal, like tea tree and clove. And some are antiviral, like thyme, oregano, and eucalyptus. In addition to creating our own powerful household cleaners, we can use essential oils in 3 other ways. So we can use them aromatically, we can use them topically, and internally. And because the powerful properties the oils have, when they are diffused, they can also help to purify the air. So a lot of people are going out and buying diffusers these days. So if we're using certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils in our diffusers, then we can actually help to cleanse and purify the air within the space that we're diffusing, which is really beautiful. So some of those oils are like eucalyptus, lavender, lemon, lime, tea tree, thyme, wild orange, arbor vitae. And diffusing essential oils is a great way of starting to use them in a very safe and fun way. And the really cool thing is they have an impact on our mood as well. So when we're diffusing oils, some are very uplifting or some are very calming and soothing. So we can set the tone for what we really want to achieve in our atmosphere as well. Now we can also use them topically on the skin. So we can replace some of those common skincare, hair care, hand soap body products with safer natural ingredients and essential oils. Or we can choose green beauty products and use our own essential oils with them as well. And one of the first things that I did when I started to kind of go into this more holistic, natural lifestyle was that I decided to make my own deodorant using arrowroot, coconut oil, and certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. And so when it comes to the third way of taking them internally, I would only ever recommend that adults can take only select certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils internally. And it's important to note that not all essential oils are meant to be ingested. So just like we have some berries that we can eat, like strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, there are other berries in the world that we cannot eat. So that are not made for us to ingest. So that is the same with essential oils. There are some that literally are fine for us to go ahead and ingest and others that are not. But when we do take some of them, the select ones internally, they have special properties within them that can help support our bodies. So, for example, we can help our detoxifying organs with taking lemon or grapefruit because it helps with detoxifying of the liver. We may use other essential oils that may help with our respiratory system. They would be using aromatically and topically, but we can use some oils internally for our cardiovascular system. Some help with our digestion, some help with our immune system, and so on. So they can actually be a big benefit as a supplement if we take them internally as well. And when it comes to using essential oils topically and internally, I work with people and guide them through starting to use essential oils in a safe way, because it's very important to have the correct dosages for that person and the proper uses as well. So it's important to note that essential oils are quite powerful and need to be used correctly. And I have a passion for guiding people to live a healthier lifestyle, and especially in decreasing their toxic load and to live more naturally. So I'm always happy to discuss the uses and benefits of essential oils to anyone who would like to get to know more and know how to integrate them into their lifestyle. And yeah, and then the next slide do have all of my information on, you can get me on Instagram, Facebook, through my website, email. I'm everywhere.
Excellent. And Claire, how do you pronounce that?
Meraki. So yes, Meraki.
Meraki. And we're gonna, before we wind down this evening, I'm gonna make sure that everybody gives out their handles as well. And thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. I appreciate you. Stay with us. The last speaker this evening, our last presenter, is the lady who organized this panel discussion, actually, Alicia Trott. And Alicia is going to talk to us about a holistic lifestyle. Alicia, tell us a little bit about yourself and then get right into your presentation.
Good evening, Tina, and good evening, Bermuda. Thank you so much, everyone on this panel, for agreeing to come on. I'm sure that our audience has found it so useful. I am Alicia Trott. I am a communications officer for the government, but I am also the owner of Seeds of Indigo, which is a holistic wellness center. So my passion for holistic wellness started as a child. I don't know if anyone listening remembers Roshina B. God bless her soul and may she rest in peace. But that is my godmother, and I grew up very close to her, and she always imparted her wisdom of just our roots. So being able to use our food as our medicine, controlling our mindset, and knowing that we have the ultimate power to choose our own lives, right? So I'm gonna share my screen so that I can go to my presentation. Sorry, I think I might have skipped a few slides. But as Tina mentioned, tonight I'll be discussing holistic lifestyle. So I have 9 minutes, so I'm not going to talk about too much, but my topics for tonight are going to be meditation and herbalism. So I did do some certifications in meditation and herbalism so that I can go ahead and share my passion and share my love with those around me. So what is meditation? I'm sure we've all heard of it in a million different ways, but it's a mind and body practice that has a long history of use for increasing calmness and physical relaxation. It helps us to improve our psychological balance, helps us to cope with illness, and just enhancing our overall health and well-being. So it focuses on the interactions amongst our brain, mind, body, and behavior. So 3 types of meditation. You're going to have concentration, where you focus your attention on a single object, whether that's internal or external. Observation, so paying attention to whatever is predominant in your experience in that present moment without allowing your attention to get stuck on any particular thing. And then awareness, which is, helping you to stay present, undistracted, and not engaging or focusing on anything else. Why should you meditate? Well, meditation is good for several things, and it has different meanings and different results for different people. But specific benefits include improving your health, your well-being, your performance, your focus, growth. So that's emotional healing, self-knowledge, self-discipline, and being able to let go. Your spirituality, so whether that's connecting with God, inner peace, or whatever other spiritual goals that you have. When should you meditate? All the time. But your body shouldn't be exhausted. I know sometimes we wait until we're kind of at that burnout period before we're like, you know what, I might need a moment to just breathe and get it together. But that's not really the time, because sometimes you find it actually harder to calm down in that moment. So not when you're completely exhausted, maybe not right after heavy exercise, although you can do it before you embark on some heavy exercise. Your mind should be awake. So don't do it when you're asleep or you're tired, because you're probably just gonna fall asleep, unless that is the intention of that meditation in the moment. And don't do it when you're full. Maybe do it 2 to 3 hours after your heavy meals. And then always try to relax your body with deep breathing exercises. And Scott actually touched on this earlier, that a lot of times we're doing deep and shallow breathing because we're not fully expanding our lung capacity. So that keeps us in a space of like fight or flight mode, and it just increases our stress. So constantly try to breathe, and especially breathe before you meditate. So how to meditate? First, pick a time. The best time, in my opinion, to meditate is first thing in the morning, so that you don't forget to hold that moment for yourself. And it usually helps you to set the tone of your day. But anytime that works well for you is fine. Understandably, we're at home right now. We might be stuck, with children. I am a mom of 2, and I have all of these jobs and all of these hats that I wear. So literally meditation might be 5 minutes locked in the bathroom, and that might be a good day, So whenever you can get it in, first pick a time. And then pick the method of meditation. So listen to your body. What does it mean? Don't think that it's just this one sit in that Buddha position pose where your mind's going to be completely still. You might need things based on where you're at. You might be feeling a little bit heavier on a certain day, so you might need to do a movement meditation, or sometimes you might just want to have like a reflective meditation. So definitely always check in with yourself and see what you need so that it can be effective. Because the thing of holistic health, there's so many methods to practice and so many ways to implement this into your life. However, if it is not speaking to your soul, it's not going to stick. So you're going to be like, okay, I tried all of these things and I'm not really getting the results that I wanted, but because it wasn't fulfilling to you. Then find a place. So a spot where you can be uninterrupted, ideally somewhere that's quiet and clean and tidy, because our surroundings do have an impact on our mind. So if we're in clutter, we're going to feel cluttered, we're going to feel scattered, right? So if you don't have somewhere that's like that in your house, perhaps you can try going outside. Nature is always a winner. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can do your meditation, but you can also get in some of that vitamin D that we discussed. And then with the length, I know a lot of people put pressure on themselves to have this like long, uninterrupted moment of meditation. Like I said, some days for me, it's 5 minutes locked in the bathroom where I'm just thankful to have that moment. So it can be as little as 5 minutes. You can increase it by a minute or 2 a day or a week. And then, your ideal is to have like 20-minute meditation sessions, but that's going to take you time. So you're not going to start off on day 1 and be a meditation master. So just give yourself those moments. So like Tia said, put your phone on, do not disturb, quiet yourself, set your alarm. Even if you need alarm reminders to take a moment throughout the day, you'll find it extremely helpful. So like I mentioned, breaking the stigma of that meditation is you sitting with your legs and hands crossed in complete, utter mental silence. Like, no, that's not realistic for everyone. For some people, that is, but you do have different methods of meditation. So mindfulness meditation, that is when you're going to pay attention to the thoughts in your mind as they pass through. So don't judge them or overthink or become too involved with the thoughts. Just let them flow and just observe and take notes. So it's like, what are the things that are constantly coming up for you? It can be some, subconscious things that you might not even realize are happening. And we're so busy, we have social media, friends, family, our jobs, and so many things that we're involved in that we don't actually always have time to touch in with our thoughts, right? And that can lead to it coming out in various ways, So what we don't address in one way is, keep presenting itself until we address it. And then, spiritual meditation, so it's similar to prayer in that, you reflect on the silence around you and you're going to seek a deeper connection to God, the universe, your ancestors, your auntie that passed away, anything that is spiritually motivating to you. And then you have focused meditation. So you can focus on something internal, maybe like your breathing, or you can focus on something external that helps you to focus. So I don't know, maybe if you just sit outside and look at a tree or a flower, a bush, or something that you really like, something that you can just focus on that's going to allow you to calm down at the same time. Then we have that movement meditation. So I know a lot of people's going to think yoga when they think of movement, but it's not. It can be, you know, walking outside, gardening, qigong, or other gentle swings. Like literally just put on some music and move slow. You don't have to be a top dancer, or then you can put on some choreography if you want to. But the intention is just to be able to move those emotions throughout your body, because what you feel mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically is all there. So, you know, we can tell ourselves that we're fine because the show must go on. However, our body is still going to feel it. So being able to literally release and move that through your body so that it's not causing you blockages in other areas is going to be so crucial, especially because a lot of us, you know, we have jobs that kind of sit down or are not as active as we used to be. We live in the world of convenience. So definitely some movement meditation. And this is what you can even do as a family. You know, my children love this. I have 2 boys, 10 and 3. So getting them to actually sit down, yeah, right. But the movement, we put on songs and we just go with it, right? Mantra meditations are also very good for self-esteem, for calming yourself down and just, you know, boosting yourself. But you use a repetitive sound to clear the mind. That can be a word, it can be a phrase, like I said, a song. It doesn't really matter if it's spoken out loud or if you do it quietly, but after you do it for some time, you're gonna realize that you feel just more alert and in tune with your environment. So it's gonna help you to experience deeper levels of awareness. So this is where I like to do, you know, my positive affirmations. So I might tell myself, you know, that I am gracious, I am grateful, I'm just waiting for things to work out, or whatever it is that I need to tell myself in order to help myself get through. This can also be a quick form of meditation that, like I said, if you're using the bathroom, you might just want to repeat this to yourself. Or, you know, if you're sitting down and you just have a moment where you're like, okay, let me get inside of my head and start to reprogram the way that I think. Right now, we are bombarded with news. So we have all types of things that are constantly coming in that we're constantly processing that we might not realize are even stressing us. So just by us telling our bodies and our minds these positive things, we're going to be able to take back some of that power. Then we also have visualization meditation. So that's a technique that is used on enhancing your feelings of relaxation, peace, and calmness by visualizing positive scenes or images. You know, so with this practice, it's very important that you imagine the scene very vividly and try to use all of your 5 senses to add as much detail. So like, what does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it look like? What do the things in your scene feel like? That's going to take you deeper into that moment and make it more real for you. And another form of visualization meditation involves imagining yourself succeeding at specific goals. So that will help you increase your focus and your motivation. So whatever your goals are, whether they be during the pandemic, after the pandemic, just go ahead and visualize on that. You know, see what it's like if you're trying to get a new job, like see what your office is going to look like, decorate it in your mind, you know, envision yourself celebrating, going out to dinner, just doing different things to keep yourself in that space of gratitude. And then you're going to just draw that stuff into your space. So it's important that before meditation, you're doing it intentionally. First of all, the whole movement, right? Relax your body and breathe so that you can calm and center yourself. Like I said, we're dealing with a lot. So just be able to come back to yourself, right? Uplift your mind with gratitude or some sort of other positive thought. Try to go into it positively. Although you might be feeling stressed and overwhelmed, just take that moment to shift that narrative so that you're going in, you know, gird up to get a positive result and have a strong intention in your mind. So if that's just, you know, relaxing or becoming more aware of yourself, strengthening your breathing, visualizing, whatever it is, go into that with a strong intention. During the meditation, don't feel bad if you get distracted. I know this discourages a lot of people because like, I can't quiet my mind. I have too many thoughts and this and that. Don't worry about that. You know, find happiness and humor in the moments of concentration. Or if you're not concentrated, just laugh at yourself, laugh at the thought and get back to it. It does take time. You're not going to be a master meditator overnight. So give yourself some grace through the process and just stick with it. After your meditation, you're going to be calm. So be sure to move out of it gently. Give yourself time to ground, to come back from the clouds, come back down to earth, and get back focused on what it is that you've got to do. You can journal, you can repeat affirmations, you can do a mirror visualization, or you can just sit there for a bit and breathe. So why should you meditate? There are so many benefits of meditation. I'm not going to get into all of them tonight, but it helps to regulate your mood and anxiety disorders. It helps to reduce stress and anxiety just in general. It improves your focus, your attention, and your ability to work under stress, which we all are doing right now. And it's not easy, right? So it helps us to improve the way we learn, our memory, our self-awareness, the way that we process information and decision-making. It also helps to give you mental strength and resilience and emotional intelligence, relieve some of that pain that you might be going through, whether that's physical, mental, emotional. Positively impacts the genes that control stress and your immunity. So like we said, the cortisol stress comes spiking, but meditation helps you to be able to calm some of that down and bring it back into a safe place, right? Reduces your blood pressure, it decreases cellular level inflammation, and so much more. And the second thing that I'm going to touch on is herbalism. But before I get into that, meditation is really whatever you need it to be. So it's just taking some time to put yourself first, to be able to pour in. So hopefully it's something that you can incorporate into your daily life. Use the reminder apps on your phone or write it down and just remind yourself to do this for you so that you can get just some deeper perspective as to where you are and disconnect from the world around you. Sometimes we have to disconnect externally so that we can reconnect internally. So now I'm going to move on to herbalism, which is like one of my favorite things in the world. But herbalism is the use of crude plant materials such as leaves and flowers, fruit, seeds, stems, wood, bark, roots, rhizomes, and other plant parts, which may be entire, fragmented, or powdered. The term herbalism refers to the long historical use of these medicines to support the healing function of the body. So today I'm going to just touch a little bit on some herbal teas and supplements and sea moss gel. So herbalism, it's not anything new. We grew up in Bermuda, so you probably had a granny that made you some bush tea, or you had a cold and your mom was like, look, let me cut some onions, put them on the bottom of your feet. Let me put some matchmaker can leaves, soak it in some bay rum, got your inflammation down, and we've all grown up on it. Although sometimes we have gotten away from it as modern technology and medicine has come so far. A lot of people say, you want to drink herbs, or what should we do with them? But yes, drinking herbal teas, having them in supplements, putting them in your foods as much as you can. This is where we're going to get our minerals and our vitamins to be able to have a healthy immune system. It is hard to try to get all of this from just the foods that you're eating if you're not even meal planning properly, right? So being able to have like 5 to 7 cups of herbal tea a day is going to help boost that by putting herbs in your smoothies, by trying to put it in every single meal that you have. It's definitely gonna help. So some immune boosting herbs, we have astragalus, we have chamomile, hibiscus, which grows locally in abundance. You can just pick them, dry out their leaves, and then go ahead and boil them. Well, actually boil your water first and then eat them, because you don't want to boil herbs because it will ruin, well, not ruin, but it will take away some of the nutritional value, right? We have echinacea, moringa, as Scott discussed, and moringa grows so much in Bermuda. So definitely look up some of these herbs and see what grows here. And I also know that the herb goddess shop in the mall, she sells books that is specializing in like Bermudian herbs, so that's a great resource as well. We have the reishi mushroom extract, which is super potent. CBD oil to consume internally. We have, our heavy hitters, basil, oregano, rosemary, sage, thyme, hurley basil, milk thistle, dandelion, and aloe vera. Those are just some. There are so many more, but be sure to include these in as many ways as you can, because they're really what's going to help detox your body. They're going to help you get the nutrients that you need. And drinking a cup of tea is so therapeutic. You just heat the cup there, you heat the cup, you sit in there with it, and that could be another meditation method for you, is maybe having a cup of tea, right? But be sure to get these into your system, because we can't say that we don't want to be susceptible to sickness, but yet we're not taking these steps to boost our immune systems, because it just does not work like that. You can't have both at the same time. And then sea moss. So what is sea moss? Well, essentially it's sea plants, right? So the term sea moss refers to the thousands of different species of wild and naturally grown seaweed and algae. And it's important to note that raw, authentic sea moss grows naturally with the flow of the ocean. And it has to, right? So that it can absorb the minerals and the nutrients. It's not going to be the farmed sea moss that you see that has like this thick plastic-like texture. It's not going to be full of salt. So just think thin-bladed seaweed, or even just all Bermuda seaweed that we see wash up. It's going to have like a real texture to it. So if you are consuming sea moss, please be sure to make sure that it's authentic, because what you don't want to do is just have farm sea moss that's grown in like a pool or even in the ocean. It just doesn't really have any nutrients, because unfortunately it's just not going to have what you're looking for. And why should you consume sea moss? Well, it's a power food, right? It's like one of God's many gifts, but the minerals and the nutrients in sea moss help to nourish and regenerate most cells in your body. It is plant powered with amino acids, antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, chromium, copper, iron, folate, selenium, potassium, manganese, magnesium, and just everything, right? It has over 90 of the 100 and plus minerals that our body needs. So it's a great, great, great wholesome source of nutrients. And like I said, the sea plant is then made into a gel, which you can then make into a tea, a smoothie, or add it to your foods. It's also, it's safe for children, it's safe for individuals, but contact your doctor as always before you're gonna do any type of like sea moss or herbs, just to make sure that it can agree with whatever is going on with you specifically. But this is a staple in me and my child's life. They have it every day. It's like the multivitamin, and they're good. They haven't been sick. But what impact does sea moss have on immune health? Well, it helps to boost the immune system on a cellular level, because it's anti-inflammatory, it's antiviral, it's antibacterial, microbial, and anticoagulant. It removes toxins from the bloodstream and helps to, which is, phlegm and mucus that gets stuck in your mucous membranes. It's going to help to dissolve that. And then it's going to nourish your cells with minerals and nutrients that are going to help the respiratory, reproductive, peripheral nervous, and central nervous systems to function. The iron, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, and vitamin C are especially powerful in replenishing the cells in the body and helping to boost your immune functions. It's rich in iodine and natural sea salts, which are extremely beneficial for iron deficiencies and helping to strengthen the glands in your body overall. And sea moss and emotional health. So sea moss is very high in potassium and B vitamins, which are crucial to emotional and mental health. Why is potassium important? Well, potassium, it improves our emotional behavior and our mental functioning because it regulates serotonin. So serotonin is the hormone that stabilizes our moods and feelings of well-being and happiness, right? So when we start to see potassium and vitamin D deficiencies in people, we start to see anxiety and depression and irritability, some anemia, fatigue, muscle weakness, and chronic pain. So sea moss helps to reduce that, foggy brain feeling that you may have, improves your memory and your focus. It boosts your energy levels, which helps you to feel lighter, cleaner, and more aligned. And the B vitamins in sea moss are well known for supporting the nervous system and reducing stress and anxiety. So that is the end of my presentation for tonight. But just want to encourage everyone to go ahead, meditate, consume your herbal supplements, get your mind right, get your soul right, listen to everything that everyone had to say. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. For the parents, I know, if anybody knows, I know, but try to include your children in these holistic lifestyle changes that you're going to make, because it's going to make it easier for you and them. It's going to strengthen them with some much needed tools that they need. And, when you do things as a family, you just have that level of support. So thank you so much, Bermuda, and I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, Anna. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. And I appreciate you talking about the power of meditation. To all our panelists, and I'm going to ask everyone to come on the screen right now, open up your cameras, please. We're going to do view so we can see all our panelists. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And before Minister Furman, I'm going to come to you. But before I do, I just want to put one question out to you, the panelists. And I got to say, this was, it was tremendously uplifting, very positive. You're all positive people. You're all, I'm just happy. I'm just happy I sat through and enjoyed each presentation. The themes that came out today was gratitude, the importance of exercising, the importance of self-care, setting boundaries. I found that interesting that all of you kind of touched on that in one way or the other. And then also just resetting the dial and the importance of sleep and eating well. So here's the deal. I've been through, as Dela said, how do we do that? What each of you, one or two things that you would recommend to people as we move to that? We're going to move out of the phase, kids are going to go back to school, we're going to go back to work, we're going to be back out there in the community interacting. How do we move to that phase holistically and with well-being and ourself in mind and our community? Let's start with Dela, and then we'll go through real quick. Dela, real quick. How do we emerge from this?
I'm gonna keep it on me for a second, because like I said, I don't think that any of us are exempt. We're all in this pot stewing together. That's how it really feels. And so my intention is to move slowly at my pace, right, through the next transition. Like we've all mentioned, people are anxious, people want to get back out, people want outside to open back up. But for me, moving slowly with intention allows me to stay focused on me, and it also allows me to be aware of the people around me. So if we're all a group of anxious bunch of people, right, everyone's experiencing different levels of emotion, and we just all are just completely disregarding ourselves and one another, it can make for a very chaotic environment. It can feel like chaos outside when everything just comes back together. And so, just encouraging people to do what's best for them, take what they need, move slowly with intention, and take it at your pace, and still remain honest about what your needs are and all of that. You know what I mean? Because you can feel the pressures of outside mounting, and you might feel the need to conform to all of that. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like, you have to really listen to and pay attention to what's going on with you. So I intend to move slowly at my pace and with intention, being as honest as I can up with myself first and with others, and just continue to set those boundaries for sure. And continue movement, continue exercising, continue being intentional with my body as well.
Cool. Salante?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely resonate with what Dela was saying about taking your time, doing what's best for you and your family. For example, I pulled my daughter out of school 3 weeks before shelter in place actually began, just because of my immunocompromised situation and wanting to be careful for my family, right? So doing what's comfortable for you. And as far as managing your mindset, one way that I minimize anxiety and fear is by limiting the amount of news I take in. I turn it off. I don't attend every press conference. It's not necessary. I attend the important ones or when I need to be updated on the regulations, but I don't attend every one. So that's a big thing for me as well. And then just continuing to boost my immunity as an immunocompromised person. And yeah, the vaccine is a big topic. You know, I'm immunocompromised, but doing what's best for me again, taking my time to decide on when I'm going to get it, building my immune system to prepare to get it. So that's my 2 tips or things to take away.
Very good, very good. Latia, how do you, when you have this pressure, this immense pressure, I can just see people trying to go back to work after working from home, trying to get back into routines. How do you still manage to get through it as we emerge from this pandemic? What tips would you give real quick? Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that is going to be, or we might run into overstimulation where people are anxious that they've been here for so long and everyone is like anxious to get back to life as we knew it. I think the first thing is going to be to recognize that life is never going to be the way that we knew it. It's going to be a new norm. I would also probably encourage, and I don't know if that's even on, the government level, but even if it's workplaces, just doing things in a phase, transition, slowly transitioning people back into what that's going to look like. And one thing that I plan to do, because recognizing that through this process, we all have to do our part, right? And that's actually staying connected with people, but in a safe way, right? I can't just go everywhere or do all the things that I used to, right? Recognizing that this is always going to be a risk, at least at this time, going into that next level, and doing that safely, staying connected in safe ways, not trying to bombard, like I said, to life as we knew it, just adjusting to that norm, like they said, taking time, doing what's best for you.
Excellent, excellent. So Scott, how someone, all through the pandemic, they didn't do it, they didn't get started on the whole taking care of self, exercising. How do you get started? What's your way? What do you say to someone that's, I'm coming out of this pandemic, but I'm beat up on myself. I haven't been exercising, I haven't done. How did someone get started? Go ahead.
Do what you can. Don't overthink it. Don't overstress it. Start slight, start small. 10 minutes is better than no minutes. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. Try different things. There's so many different activities that a person can do just to be active. Like even this guy I said, dancing in your house. I mean, that's the easiest thing. You don't have to go also after that. You can just dance, put some music on, whatever you like. Walk, run, jog. I know we're not mixing households yet, but maybe someone that is in your household, get them just a 15-minute walk, go outside, start easy. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's a big thing. And don't expect too much of yourself. Just start easy, start slow. Do what you can, do whatever you want, but just do something.
Yeah. You talked about, several of you talked about the importance of sleep. Who wants to touch on that? Scott, you talked about it. I think, who else talked about it? Somebody else talked about it. Talk about that, sleep, especially with all the anxiety. I actually found myself one time during this pandemic, and I'm not normally a person, but I could not sleep because I was watching news, watching news, getting frustrated, and I actually found myself, the only way I could get back to sleep was to pray, was to literally go into prayer. But go ahead. The importance of sleep. Who wants to touch on that real quick?
I mean, my mic's still unmuted, so I don't mind touching on it real quick. So what I got my clients to do, because sleep is a big thing, especially for weight loss. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to lose weight. So what I encourage my clients to do is to actually set a bedtime. as childish as it may seem. Or at least even a wind down time where it's no phones, no TVs, no electronic devices, just you in your own natural element inside your house or an apartment, wherever you live. And yeah, just half an hour extra than what you would normally go sleep. And that starts to add up over time, and then you just shift into a new habit. Someone else could take over now.
And actually, that runs right into Dr. Pete Tolbert. You started out with that whole thing about gratitude and fear. What do you say to people when as we're emerging, as we're going to a whole nother phase of life now, where things are going to be relaxed a bit and so forth? What would you say to that? I love that idea about gratitude.
Yeah, so what I hope a lot of people will do is start a gratitude practice. And that's really simple. It's just waking up in the morning and thinking about, okay, what's going really, really well for me today? And then at the end of your day, think about all the things that really went well for you. And sometimes people are like, well, okay, I'm talking to the person who's lost their job or isn't not working and is struggling to find, but you did wake up, you know what I mean? And you probably are still able to breathe and you're still able to put a foot in front of each other. And so sometimes it can be really hard, depending on what your life situation is, to really, really find that gratitude. But the more and more you look at what is really, really working for you, guess what? More and more things will start working well for you. And so I hope that Bermudians wake up and start being really grateful as we kind of go into phase 2. I also really, really hope that we are kind and compassionate to each others. We all have really different circumstances. I see a lot of, like I said, fear around the vaccine, and it's bringing up a lot of strong emotions, all right, for a lot of people. And I hear frustration. I see the anger. And what I say is be peaceful, be non-judgmental, be loving to yourself, but also be loving to your your neighbor. Okay.
That's excellent. And you're right. We do judge each other. We too much so, and especially around this whole, you're here, you're there, you're vaccine, be kind to each other.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Claire, you talked about, the importance of the aromatherapy, and you mentioned some things in terms of getting the potency. Is everything available here in Bermuda?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the oils that I use is doTERRA. And I am a doTERRA wellness advocate. And basically there are quite a few of us on island. So there are a few other places that do sell doTERRA as well. And basically, either way, whether you do it through a wellness advocate or you purchase it at retail, being able to get the highest quality essential oils or highest quality with everything. I mean, basically whatever we're trying to do, whether that's supplements, whether that's essential oils, whether that's, food in general, we're trying to get the best quality so that our bodies can absorb the nutrients as best they can, right? So it's kind of no point spending a whole bunch of money on something that's really not going to do anything for us. So I use doTERRA essential oils, and that's what I recommend.
And it's available on the island.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And Alicia, just winding up with you, when you talk about meditation, and it was funny because you said, don't beat yourself up. So you mean 5 minutes of meditation can actually help?
Yes, I mean, see how you think I'm making it through with my 2 kids at home now working and all that. I'm like literally, I think that quietness is kind of almost like a thing of the past in most people's minds. We have these phones, these smartphones that are dumb because everyone feels like they should have instant access to us. So we wake up before we're even like grounded, we might still be seeing stars, but we have our phone, we're checking notifications, emails, news, messages, and we're just so much for everybody else that we're not taking any time for ourselves. And I'm going to speak from the mother, full-time employee slash entrepreneur that I need that time. So even if it's, I don't care if my son's throwing Lego outside of the house, screaming at the neighbors. Like if I'm just locked in the bathroom for 5 minutes to breathe, I'm literally like, and like Claire said, you know, with the essential oils are so powerful. They can actually pass the blood-brain barrier, right? So they are instantly absorbed and they are able to calm us down. So there's like feelings of anxiety. You know, sometimes I'm almost like, what are you sniffing? Because I'm walking around with these glass bottles and I'm just smelling them to just be like, you know, so get a diffuser, get these things. Stay present. We have to be present, right? Whether it's this coronavirus pandemic or whether it's a meltdown of the financial global market or global depression, we're always going to deal with things externally that we cannot control. So until we start focusing on the internal things that we can control, we're just going to go in every single direction that the world is throwing us in, right? So if anything I can impart on people is to be present, take some time to meditate, drink some herbal tea, start a garden, grow your own vegetables, and just use this time to really pour into yourself. Be gentle. Nothing is going to look as it seems. You know, for me, I started off the pandemic in 2020. I'm a planner and I almost have like OCD with like my plans and my timelines. And 2020 was like, y'all right. Like, yeah. And now 2021 is kind of like, hell my birth. Because if you thought 2020 was showing you something, I'm about to show you something else. So now I'm like, you know what? I can put out my expectations, but don't be so rigid with it, you know, and just kind of like pour into yourself. So if that's got a new hobby, you might not be a dancer, but you might want to dance, you might want to try art, you might want to try cooking, just try all of the things to best experience life. I think if anything the pandemic has gave us has been that opportunity to unplug and not feel guilty about it. You know, we are working from home and we are able to do more things. So just, who are you? You don't want to get onto your deathbed and realize that you've lived this super structured life and now that you've even gotten to know or explore yourself. So stay present, meditate if it's 5 minutes locked in a bathroom, or it could be 10 minutes fancy in front of an altar somewhere with some herbs burning, you know, but definitely taking that time for yourself. And there's so many guided meditations online. So if you might not be someone who can say, okay, I just know how to do this today, go to the guided meditations online and just let them walk you through it.
Yeah, I think Latia talked about that even on my phone, my Apple phone, was it Latia? That I can find something. Yeah, that was good. Well, I want to thank you. This was empowering. You've given us so many great tips of things that we could be doing while we're still in this last week of this phase and what we can be doing post this phase when we are back out. And I have to, so Dr. Pete Stolbert, we got to be kind to ourselves as a community and not be so judging of each other and just be kind towards each other. We made it through thus far. So I'm not gonna preach right now, Reverend, but I'll pass it on to Minister Tanae Furman. This is excellent, Minister Furman. Your ministry is to be commended for, and I'll let you close out. Minister Tanae Furman.
Thank you, Tina. And I have to say, I'm very excited. Just listening to all the presenters, I was here blushing and I'm saying, wow, how awesome it was to hear this information this evening. And people were sending me messages, Tanae, information is awesome. This is awesome. Your panelists are awesome. So I just want to tell Scott, because here's my water. This is my big bottle.
I have my water too.
And I'm very goal orientated. So this is helping me. Before I just had a regular bottle of water, but this says you have to have it by 7, you have to have it by 9, 11. This, so this helps me to get the water in that I had a hard time getting in most days. But I also just want to speak about Scott's tips as well. Tina, when you asked about, how do we go forward? And really, it's about one day at a time, one step at a time. And all these great tips that were shared with us this evening, it does not mean that we have to go out and do them all tomorrow. Write them down, the ones that you think are beneficial to you, write down about 10, and every day go through your list to see how many you got through in that particular day. And so that just helps things to be less overwhelming, but still also important for our bodies. So I'm just going to close here. And Bermuda, I'm sure that you agree that there has been a lot of powerful information shared today. And I hope that what was shared has been insightful. And I want to thank our special guests who shared a wealth of knowledge and information. And I hope that we all have some usable takeaways or at least know where to find them, because they gave lots of information about where to find them. If you have any questions at all, please remember to reach out to us at askus@gov.bm, and we will be publishing the presentation slides from tonight on our website. And the recording of this chat can be found on social media sites such as Facebook, YouTube, for future viewing. So I encourage you to go and look and watch. I look forward to chatting with you again, and we encourage you to stay connected to find out more details of our next chat scheduled for Thursday, May 13th.
Thank you all, and that concludes our discussion tonight.